All right, first ban by Popper's Pupils comes out on Rem. Not too surprising. So Popper's Pupils versus Vanguard Gaming. As I said last week when Vanguard Gaming challenged against Melee Creeps, this is a team that is... Well, it looks like a few names have changed, so maybe they got some different players. Maybe there was a stand-in or something last week, but made up of mostly people that stream the game a lot, and they're high-level players and everything, but the difference between someone that's a very high-level player that streams the game and the difference and a professional player that plays the game for money is very, very stark in contrast, and professional players will typically crush the streamer team. But if they're sticking with it and they're actually putting in the time and effort to practice for realsies, then they've got themselves a shot, and they should be able to put up a good fight, especially considering we're seeing some normally banned heroes making their way through. So the bans came out, Rem and Abrams. I don't disagree with those bans necessarily. I do think Rem and Abrams are both very good. I would have said Doorman's a better ban than Abrams, but Rem's definitely worth banning. First pick came out, Pocket for Popper's Pupils. Vanguard respond with Lash and Doorman. Lash has been banned in every game so far that we've seen over on the EU side, finally making his way into the picks. Doorman we saw a couple times in the EU side, and he didn't win, but he looked very strong in each of the games. And Popper's Pupils now pick up McGinnis and Billy. So McGinnis was a rising star a couple weeks ago and then just kind of fell off. She did get nerfed pretty heftily. They, cut her gun scaling in half almost, and she's still pretty darn successful, so I'm not too surprised to see her again. And Billy, of course, being one of the best tanks in the game, right up there with Abrams. Abrams currently banned, so Billy's the next best thing. And Vanguard Gaming finish off their first pick phase with a Mirage that we've seen is basically the best hero at clearing your wave and not getting shoved out of lane. Bans come out, Apollo and Celeste. Perfectly fine bans for the second phase, but this does leave up a few very key heroes that we tend to see often. Heroes like Venator, for example, could easily make their way through. Calico is available at the moment, and there's Calico being picked up. The aggressive burst damage roamer that she is. What other heroes are available that might be good? If they're looking for a frontliner on the side of Vanguard Gaming, which I think they might be. I know he's a little slow in the early game, but Buff Enjoyers just showed us that you can stack a few slow heroes, and as long as you just don't fall too far behind, you're fine, even if you have to give up something here and there. Victor used to be a very premier frontline hero, and we haven't really seen him too much since he got nerfed. He's still crushing pub games on the ladder, so he's not that weak. I wouldn't be too surprised to see him. Popper's Pupils, we see a Viscous and a Paradox pickup, and then a Bebop pickup on Vanguard Gaming. So Bebop has a bit of a love-hate relationship with Viscous. Viscous' strongest ability as a support, and I don't think Popper's Pupils are going to be playing it support in any way, shape, or form. They're probably going to be playing that fuck-ass NA style, oh, I'm going to assassinate you with Viscous build, which is not very good, but more than likely we'll see that. But anyway, when Viscous uses Cube on an ally, it can be used to dodge a bunch of spells, including Bebop's Bomb, which is one reason why Bebop can hate him. But when the enemy hero is in the cube, Bebop can hook them and hook the cube, and it's a big old target that's easy to hook to displace them. So a bit of a love-hate relationship between those two with each other. Paradox and Mo and Krill are the last two pickups for Popper's Pupils. Vanguard Gaming have no frontline tank, no fight starter, nothing to cause chaos to set Lash up for an ultimate or anything like that. Popper's Pupils have two frontline tanks and Viscous to help keep them from getting hit by key spells. They have Pocket in order to destroy frontline tanks if they needed to. They Vanguard also doesn't have many heroes that want to build Divine Barrier against Pocket. Doorman and Bebop can build it without compromising their ability to play the game too much. They don't need a great deal of net worth, but they're not going to be happy about it, really. So, I like Popper's Pupils lineup a lot more. And Vanguard Gaming are doing that thing that I said is much, much, much harder to make work, which is, if you look at their last 3 picks, pick off hero, pick off hero, pick off hero. Half their team is pick off heroes that want to find solo enemies, pull them out of position, or go to them and pick them off and kill them. Meanwhile, the enemy team has a good group up and multiple teamfight spells. I think Popper's Pupils have gotten the better of them in the draft by a wide margin. Now we're about to jump into the game, so give me a second and we will shift over there. All right, welcome everybody to the best of 1 between Popper's Pupils and Vanguard Gaming. Popper's Pupils were the champions last week, got knocked off by Melee Creeps in a very close 3-game series, and they're looking to try to reclaim their title. And Vanguard Gaming are looking to throw their hat in the ring and be like, hey, we think we're good enough that we can contest and get a chance at the money, so we're going to give it a shot. Looking at our lanes, in our mid lane we have a Viscous Paradox for the side of Popper's Pupils facing off against a Doorman Lash. Relatively even on these lane setups in the middle. I'd say it kind of depends on where the spells fall. And if both sides, let's say both sides hit literally everything they do, then I think the Doorman Lash combo is a little stronger. Moving over to the left side of the map, we have Pocket with Billy facing off against a Bebop and Drifter. Now, Pocket's a great pick against Bebop, can always use the Enchanter's Satchel to dodge out from Bebop's bombs, and if Pocket gets hooked out of position, can always use the Cloak to get back into position. Billy takes a hook, eats a fair bit of damage, and it's just a little bit of poke, a little back and forth. If all the spells land, you know I always prefer having a Bebop lane if all the spells land, but, you know, that's asking Bebop to land a lot of hooks. But otherwise, I think this will be a little bit in favor of the side of Popper's Pupils. The Billy and Pocket lane, that is. Just a little bit. Moving on to the right side of the lane, we have a McGinnis, Mo, and Krill lane that are now running boxes, facing off against a Calico Mirage. All right, this is a bit of a wash of a lane, which might, keyword might, wind up with McGinnis being able to pressure the tower pretty heavily, but it's hard to say. Pocket brought very low, actually going to die to the bomb. Going to be a trade, a 1-for-1, but Billy eats a parry and is going to eat 2 heavy melees. Rebuttal coming out big over on the side of the Drifter here, and a nice little early game advantage for the side of Vanguard.
I will be deterred from
We see McGinnis beginning her pressure on the lane. So part of the reason why McGinnis can pressure so heavily on the lane is, first off, she has a very strong gun. It's a minigun, so it has to wind up first, but once it's wound up, it shoots extremely fast, and she has a large magazine. Not really a magazine, I guess it would be more like a bullet belt to shoot with. So she is able to clear through the lane units very fast. She can set sentry turrets down that fire automatically and auto-target and just clear stuff even further. She can set up a wall between the enemies and her own units in order to give a little extra time for her to be pumping bullets into whatever objective she's pumping bullets into. All that stuff pulls together and makes McGinnis very, very strong in the lane at just pressuring the lane and eventually pushing down the Guardian. And you see, this is another thing that McGinnis does very well. She can farm these creeps very quickly over in the camps. Bebop, brought low on the right or left side of the map, actually taken down, chased down by the pocket.
I never wanted to spread misery, but it looks like today I have to.
And McGinnis and Mo have just left the lane. They're just farming camps. They don't give a shit about that Walker over there. It has lost, or the Guardian, I mean, it has lost 75% of its health from that one wave because there was no one here to catch it. They just let it go.
I won't lie. I don't know what that does.
Mo and Krill doing the standard Mo and Krill thing where he just loses trades because he has to get close to his opponents. Calico running boxes as they have respawned.
I'm coming, baby.
Looks like the Lash and Doorman lane is facing a bit of heavy pressure right now. Viscous and Paradox getting the better of them in the lane right now, which means that Doorman and Lash are not hitting their stuff quite so much. Left side of the map, it looks like Bebop has died. Return to Shadows was popped by the Calico, and she barely gets out of there as McGinnis' ultimate was raining missiles down behind her. Restart the game! New draft! Man, I wouldn't be down to reset if I was on the side of Popper's Pupils. I think their team composition is way better than Vanguard Gaming's. I think Vanguard did not draft particularly well. Just taking a quick look around at what various items the heroes have picked up. The fact that Paradox has nothing but gun items, and I guess a resto shot for a little healing, and is full HP... wait, no, she got that survivability buff. That is a big deciding factor in the lane. So that survivability buff, that vitality buff, not only gives you more max HP, but it makes you heal constantly. This is probably why Paradox is so healthy, and her opponents are so not healthy. She gets to be more aggressive and get those heals out very easily. No fear, no fear.
I see Bebop.
Nothing going on over there. Bebop taking massive damage from the pocket combo. Brought very low. But is going to get out just fine. And Paradox, Viscous were able to take down the Guardian. They won that lane pretty darn well. And a big part of it comes down to the bridge buff they got. Like, notice that Paradox is now actually hurt. She took damage. The moment the bridge buff ended, she is no longer full HP. Which tells you the importance of securing those bridge buffs, especially if one of them is a survivability buff. That does way too much. In these early stages especially. Calico? No, she's running boxes underneath. I thought she was looking for a jump onto the Paradox, which would be kind of questionable. Paradox is very strong right now at 7.3k, and all of it is invested in items that do things. Right now, Calico has invested 1,600 into Trophy Collector. This is an item that doesn't do anything right off the bat. It is, well, it does a little bit. Just a very, very little bit. And that little bit isn't enough to really make an impact. It's worse than an 800 cost item right now. If she's part of some kills, it'll scale and become a very good item. But she's got to be part of some kills first. But what that means is her current net worth of 6K is functionally 1,600 less because of that item pickup. That's why I'm pointing it out for those wondering. Another tower taken down on the side of Popper's Pupils. They have themselves a 10K lead at 10 minutes. And it's not even off the back of a bunch of kills. It's only 4-2, which means they're just playing the lanes much, much better.
Don't mind the blood on that. It's gently used.
First urn coming down on the left side of the map. Looks like Paradox is going to be waiting for it. She has a mobility buff from the bridge. Let me see. Buffs. Buffs. There's a gun buff on Bebop. All right. They got something. Urn being run by Paradox. Billy coming by, attacking Lash, pops the ultimate. Chain Gang preventing Lash from being able to escape for just long enough to burst him down with the help of Pocket. All right, back to the urn. Paradox trying to push it through. Any melee attack will knock the urn out of her hands. She's currently blinded. She can't see much outside of her immediate melee zone, and she gets the urn. They're not even going to deny any of those because McGinnis put a wall up to prevent them from shooting from the other side. Diving in, catching the Bebop, and the swap to finish him off. Bebop goes down. I like how McGinnis's build is gun item, gun item, gun item, gun item, gun item. One little shield for survivability. All right, hey, Vanguard Gaming got themselves a Guardian on the left side of the map. They are still down 11K, though, and it's not looking good for them. This is to be expected, to be honest. Popper's Pupils is a lot more established. They're... as far as I know, and as far as I've seen, more of a I'm trying to be pro player team and less of a I'm streaming the game team, which Vanguard is a little more of the latter, but that doesn't mean they can't shift over. They do get themselves a rift. Void Troopers are a push-in on the right side of the map, but wait a second. Paradox has a swap. Not going to swap. All right, they're just catching the wave. There's a Viscous. There's a McGinnis. They should be fine on it. Pocket brought very low. Actually going to die. Do they get the Walker, though? They get the Walker. Moe and Krill getting that big injection of gold for being the only one around when the Walker falls. So the closer you are to the Walker, the closer in proximity to it, if you're within a certain range, you get a bonus amount of gold. Or souls, I guess, in this game. And the bounty is like a flat bonus, right? So the fewer heroes you have in the area when you take down a walker, the more of that gold gets injected directly into the veins of the hero who took it down. That's why if you see like a solo pushing Wraith or something in a ladder game and they take down the walkers, they're super farmed because the walkers are worth a lot of money and they're getting the full... Okay. They're getting the full bounty out of it. I was wondering if he was gonna hold the mark and go in after Paradox teleported, but no, he just kind of jumped in and tickled her. But she has a Veil Walker, so Paradox just has to walk through like another 1 or 2 Veils and she's back to full.
Ready to get in the mix.
Calico's Trophy Collector has 0 stacks. This has been a bad item pickup for Calico, as it has 0 stacks. This is not a good item with 0 stacks. Lash on the right side of the map, trying to defend his Walker alongside Bebop. Best friends, Lash and Bebop, they are. Barely keeping himself alive. McGinnis still pumping tons of damage, gets hooked into the Lash ultimate and still not going to go down. Another hook, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Bebop goes down too. Finally, something comes in to kill McGinnis. Doorman finishing them off with a call bell. Going back through, close the door. The Great Escape. Vanguard are keeping it at a 10k deficit, which is nice and all, but it's still a 10k deficit, which is still a lot for this stage of the game. It'll become less of a problem the later the game goes, but it doesn't feel good.
How long you think you can hide from me?
Okay, are they going to contest the urn? No, it's just going to get grabbed by the Viscous instantly. Viscous can deliver the urn super fast. Puddle Punch?
Headed to Broadway.
Mobility is very high if the Viscous knows what they're doing. And, you know, it might just be me, but I do think that the Viscous player knows what they're doing. Well, except I hate this build on Viscous. I really do. It's not like it's necessarily weak. It's pretty darn strong in the early stages of the game. I just think there's better builds to make for scaling, I suppose. Calico finally getting involved in a fight, but it's on the wrong end of it as Paradox swaps the Calico in. There is a Stalker's Mark on the Paradox. Chase down, Stalker's Mark. All right, the first kill for the Calico. She gets a stack onto that trophy collector. Not entirely worthless item, and she gets another one as Billy chased down by the Lash. Speaking of trophy collector, do we have any over on this side? Normally you'd see it on Mo and Krill, if anyone, so... There's Viscous, who has one stack, so... That's it. All right, we're reaching the 18 to 20 minute territory, which means we are closing in on, we got a pick off, we're going to take mid-boss situation. So we're looking for the first team to find a nice little pick-off for themselves, as they will more than likely convert that into a mid-boss, and then a big contest might go for it, but we'll see how the players feel depending on how many of their own teammates might get picked off, if at all. Speaking of, there goes the Doorman, taken down by the Viscous and Paradox combo. Calico coming through to try and defend the Walker a little bit. Lash from behind. No, he's just going to farm. They're a relatively underfarmed Lash right now. Not keeping up with his contemporaries. And hey, look what happened. There was a pickoff. There was a call for mid-boss. They're in the mid-boss area. Oh, they're backing out for the time being. Drifter getting chased. A hook from the Bebop. Gonna plant a bomb onto the Mo and Krill. Mo and Krill with the ultimate. Locking down Calico. Down she goes. Another great hook by the Bebop. Pulling Mo and Krill deep out of position toward the Walker, but he's gonna get saved by the Puddle Punch. Lash ultimate only grabs onto the Viscous. Viscous starts rolling, not able to get out. Affliction comes out. How many did it hit? 3 heroes currently poisoned and ticking down. It won't be anything to finish them off, but it might be enough to buy them time to finish off the mid-boss, as all the heroes over on the side of Vanguard are brought low by the Affliction. Wall comes out to prevent the Doorman from coming through, and this should be a perfectly free crystal.
It's dangerous out here.
Mo and Krill is headed to the left side of the map to contest this unstable rift, but he's alone. His teammates did not come to help him out. staying alive for now. Moan Krill very survivable. The cube comes out. Still alive somehow. Rift secured as his teammates filter in. They even get themselves a kill on the Calico as they shoo everyone out. Everything currently going the way of Popper's Pupils, and they are sitting very pretty at a 16k net worth lead with one lane pushing very strong, so it should cover them as they move toward the mid lane. In the mid lane, they get a catch on to the Bebop. One less hero to defend on the Walker.
A blue walker is under attack.
20 minutes is coming up. You see them setting up by the bridge buffs. One for Pocket, one for either McGinnis or Billy. Survivability buff. Mobility for the McGinnis, survivability for the Pocket. Left side of the map, Billy charging on in, knocks the Lash up, bashing him back down, and he is torn apart
Way to not suck.
by the Billy and the McGinnis. Moan Krill coming through. That Walker is very dead. Coming forward toward the Mirage. Gets hooked right back in. Moan Krill's going to die. But that's a rejuve. Is there enough help for Moan Krill to get back out? It looks like there is. Affliction came out and chewed the rest of the aggressive play from Vanguard Gaming away. Pocket's going to win a game. How fancy. And look, not to forget about the the objectives. During that whole time, McGinnis grabbed the urn and ran it. Right after they were done picking off a hero. Ultimate from Moan Krill grabs the Drifter, and down he is brought low. Walker going down. All three Walkers taken. An advantage of Popper's Pupils. They have every single item slot available to themselves now. While their opponents still missing 3 item slots locked away. Good hook by Bebop onto the Moan Krill yet again, but the thing is, this isn't a core that you're picking off. Lash ultimate actually hits 3. Huge ultimate, but the cube is able to instantly dodge out a lot of the follow-up, and Lash is just brought low by the swap from Paradox. 40k net worth lead. This game is very over. Let's see how safe they want to play. Popper's Pupils are here to win. They're backing up. They're playing safe. Doorman ultimate came out onto Billy, but I mean, good luck getting some level of follow-up. The escape. They're running. Goo ball being popped. McGinnis fighting. Billy. Paradox. Everyone makes it out. No stragglers. No man left behind. I'm sorry to say, but this game's very done. Once more, Vanguard Gaming come out, and they throw their hat in the ring. They do their best. And unfortunately, their best was not enough unless a miracle overturns this 0% chance for them to win. This is a 100% chance to win for Popper's Pupils, right?
She shall temper your spirit.
Or I guess, to be more accurate, instead of saying a 100% chance, it is a 99.9 repeating like 53 times in a row % chance. So 1 in a gajillion, they'll be able to turn this around. Maybe they get a really good Bebop hook onto Pocket, an instant kill. And then another really good Bebop hook onto McGinnis into another insta-kill.
There is no
Getting ready to teleport.
Headed to green.
They said I'm dead.
I'll say Krill.
dear.
Uh-oh, kitty cat, you don't want to be over there.
The shadows call and I answer.
She's just going to return to shadows to refresh her spells and run like hell. Calico is terrified of showing herself to the Paradox or the Billy. As she rightfully should be. Those heroes will kill her dead. They found Pocket alone. They do have a slowing hex. Pocket can't get out while the slowing hex is on, but it's not enough follow-up. Pocket's able to eventually get back to safety.
The king expected nothing less from you, McGinnis.
Meanwhile, on the right side of the map, Lash was caught out. Viscous, Gooball, Cube trying to stay alive. Does dodge some damage, but I think this Viscous might be dead. They got themselves a pick-off on Viscous. Signs of life, but by the time they finish them off, look, the cavalry has arrived. And they get themselves a kill onto the Mirage right afterwards. Gun buff for McGinnis, as though her gun needed any more of a buff. Look how fast she dumps out damage at the moment.
Help me deliver this thing.
Another urn. I believe every single urn has been grabbed by Popper's Pupils and delivered. Like, the moment that it spawns, within a minute.
Someone's using their noodle. You
The Moe and Krill delivery service is successful. And usually Moe and Krill is kind of given the role of tanky support, where there's not a lot of gold or souls, I guess, filtered into Moe and Krill. This Moe and Krill is rich. 30k net worth on this Moe and Krill. He has so many strong items, has Scourge, Tank Buster, Superior Duration, Torment Pulse. This is a big mole. 5,000 HP on him as well. 1,000 more HP than Billy. He's even tankier than Billy. And because of the Scourge, he'll do plenty of damage. In fact, Burrow coming through, Moe and Krill into the middle of everyone, dumping damage into them. Does not have the ultimate, but still plenty of damage coming through. They were able to get one of the Rejuvenators on the side of Vanguard Gaming, but at the end of the day, most of them, 2 out of 3, went the way of Popper's Pupils, and they get 4 cleanup kills because they take out the Rejuvenator charge and 3 heroes. Drifter trying to claim this. Oh, he's gonna get it. He barely gets it. Can he get out though? Slowing Axe, Sand Blast. Moe and Krill has the ultimate. He doesn't even need it. Drifter's dead. All right, there's a lot of troopers on this left lane. This walker's dead.
Is under attack.
It died so quick. Oh, it's a massacre. So many dead bodies. Meanwhile, in the enemy base, it's shambles. The base is in shambles. And I think there's no coming back from this 50k deficit. And by I think, I mean I know there's no coming back from this 50k deficit. GG, well played by Popper's Pupils. Looking like just a much, much stronger team than Vanguard Gaming. You're not killing this, McGinnis. You're not even coming close. The whole team wiped the game a victory. Once more, just looking very lopsided in favor of Popper's Pupils over Vanguard. I do want to say a big part of it, and I'm harping on it a lot because I keep seeing it in these pro games. One team picks team fight, one team picks pick-off heroes, the team fight wins. It keeps happening because the objectives that you have to contest in this game are all a relatively small area that you are forced to fight in. Whether it be the mid-boss, the Unstable Rift, or even the Urn. The Urn a little less so nowadays. It used to be a lot more so, but less so now. You're forced into specific areas, specific locales, and you have to fight there. If you want to contest the Rift, you have to be inside of that circle. If you want to contest the mid-boss, you have to get right up in there and punch the crystal in a tiny little AoE. You're forced into this small AoE, so you're forced into what is objectively teamfight range and radius. And thus, the team that has more teamfight just has an easier game plan of, we're going to contest the objectives, we're going to try to get the mid-boss crystal, we're going to try to get the rifts, we're going to try to get the urns, and we're going to have a team that's good at fighting for them. Whereas when you're a pick-off team and you have heroes like Drifter, Calico, Bebop, Doorman, all heroes that want to isolate their enemy targets or go into like small two-person skirmishes, then you have to have an enemy team that wants to split up a lot and is easy to catch. Well, this enemy team doesn't split up too much. On top of that, they're not particularly easy to catch. They got heroes like Pocket and Viscous and Paradox who are pretty hard to catch. Even McGinnis can throw a wall behind her. And they even have ways to like help each other with like Viscous throwing out the cube or McGinnis throwing out a wall and cutting off your advance. And so anytime they went for one of these pickoffs, the players on the side of Popper's Pupils would just try to survive long enough for their teammates to rush in. And we saw it multiple times. They survived just long enough, and even if they lose the objective, their teammates swoop in and just kill all of their opponents in short order. So it didn't matter that they lost the Void Rift, for example, because they got like 2 or 3 kills. And then they have map pressure because there are multiple heroes on the enemy team, not on the map. And they're able to convert it into objectives. And we've seen it over and over and over again. Does that mean that these pickoff heroes are weak? No. Calico's strong, Doorman's strong, Drifter's pretty darn good, Bebop's got that really great hook. They aren't weak heroes. However, when you base your entire strategy around nothing but that same concept of grab an enemy and push them out of position so that we can kill them, your strategy is very one note. Your strategy is weak to team fight. You are not good against players that ball up in team fight. And the game forces you to ball up in team fight. It's just not a good strategy for Deadlock. It doesn't work. It works in pubs because pubs are uncoordinated, chaotic messes, but it does not work in coordinated professional play. And I need to see these teams build actual lineups that have a chance to win instead of just losing at the picking and banning phase. Because this game was lost at picking and banning phase as long as Popper's Pupils kept it relatively even to about 20 minutes. And they were ahead by 10k at 10 minutes. So not only did they have the better draft, they played it better. Popper's Pupils, just the better team, straight up. Vanguard Gaming going to need to put more practice in if they want a chance at competing with these top teams. They're just looking like they're a division below their opponents. When we get back, we will be seeing Popper's Pupils facing off, challenging against Melee Creeps to see if they can reclaim the crown that Melee Creeps stole off of their heads last week. Stick around for that.